Hello, welcome to Tier Nerd. This time I am going to review some obscure JRPGs that I've played. So these are games that didn't really fit into any category yet, and I'm gonna review them right now. So there's only 6 games here. Some of them are good, some of them not so much. So first we have Bahamut Lagoon. So Bahamut Lagoon's fun. Yeah, I remember playing it back in the day, and it was probably one of the first RPGs I played. It's actually a strategy RPG, a turn-based strategy, and yeah, I had a lot of fun. I played it so many times. I don't know why. I must have played it almost as many times as FF4 and Chrono Trigger, like literally one of my most beaten games. And I kept playing it the exact same way by feeding my dragons and making them like ridiculously overpowered and just rushing through the game. And anyway, it's a fun game. It's not perfect. It was fan translated. I mean, I haven't looked at the news, but seriously, I wonder why this game never got translated officially. Like it's a solid Square Enix RPG made near the end of the Super Nintendo era. I mean, I don't really know why they never translated it officially, since it's a fairly decent game. Um, so yeah, I mean, check it out if you haven't. So yeah, this is a good strategy RPG for Super Nintendo. Yeah, everybody, basically in the story, everyone lives on these like floating islands, and it's like basically a war story basically. So yeah, good game. Let's see. Then we have some very interesting games on this list. I mean, they're obscure games. So there's this random Dragon Ball Z RPG I played for Super Nintendo back in the day, and it was hard. Like this game was hard, especially if you don't know what you're doing. No, I mean, I watched Dragon Ball Z, so I decided to play this game, and I was just a kid. Like I had no idea what I was doing, and I don't think I was reading a guide or anything. And or I think I did later start reading a guide because I got lost. But anyway, it's tough, and there's like permadeath. So like if any character dies, they stay dead. It's kind of realistic. Like when Yamcha dies, like he stays dead. And yeah, so my first time, like I just did not know what I was doing. A whole bunch of people in my party got killed by Vegeta and Nappa, and oh, it was pretty bad. Anyway, I ended up beating the game, and it's just kind of fun, like going through the storyline of Dragon Ball Z, and it pretty much ends when Goku fights Frieza. Like that's pretty much the final battle. There's also a secret optional boss afterwards. I won't spoil that for you, but I mean you can read about it online who the secret optional boss is. But basically, you that's how you end up winning. At the end you fight Frieza, and you go Super Saiyan and all of this stuff, and um, it uses a card battle system, and yeah, so it's kind of I mean, it has unique points. Like I almost want to give it. I think I'll give it B tier just because of all of its unique points. But like as a game, it's kind of annoying. It's kind of grind intensive, kind of hard, kind of random at times. Very unforgiving because basically some of your characters are just trash, like Yamcha, or like or like they might be useful at the beginning, but because of how the game works with power levels, basically by the end of the game, it's like you got Goku and Vegeta and maybe Piccolo, and everyone else is just useless. Like that's just how the game works. So I mean, at least it's being realistic. Like it's following the anime, where it's just Goku and Vegeta and Piccolo, and everyone else is kind of weak. So anyway, it's a decent game. Yeah, so I think instead of C tier, I'll give it B tier just because of how different and unique it is. Um, okay, then we've got Ray Gigan. Okay, so this is definitely C tier. Like this, I could not give this higher than C tier. So this is a dungeon crawler for that I played on Steam, and it feels kind of generic. Like some of like a lot of games recently, like indie games, they feel kind of generic. They have this generic feel to it. I don't know if it's the dialogue or the stuff they do, but it always lacks some kind of polish. So Reigagon just has this like cheesy, cringy, cliche anime style to it. And as a dungeon crawler, it's okay. It's got the battle system is kind of interesting. How you level up is kind of interesting. But overall, it's a pretty easy game. I don't know. I might have died once or twice. I don't remember, but it was a fairly easy game. But it's just the characters and the storyline, how it progresses, is just so very cliche, and it's got issues. It's got issues. So I'm giving it C tier. Um, yeah, I'm giving it C tier. It's not terrible. It's not unplayable. It's not like Unlimited Saga or anything like that. But it's pretty. It's still, I can't really give it higher than a C tier, even if I'm being generous. Um, so yeah, I mean, it's not. I mean, it was kind of interesting. Like this game's pretty obscure. Like I even looked up on Steam, like how many people owned it and how many people got achievements, and I was surprised there were not that many people. So I was one of very few people that even got this game and played it. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Next, we got Treasure of the Rudras. Now I have not like. I mean, I played lots of Super Nintendo RPGs, and I never heard of this game until like many years after I started playing Final Fantasy games. All of a sudden, I heard about this Treasure of the Rudras, and I wondered why have I never heard of it. So I played it, and it's a decent game. B tier. I don't know if it's It's probably not A tier, but I think B tier is solid. It's got an interesting battle system. I mean, I say that about a lot of games that they have interesting battle systems, but this game, it's kind of weird. You type in words and you create spells based on words. I have no idea how that works. I have no idea how they fan translated it and made that battle system work since it's words. Originally they were Japanese words. In the fan translation, they're English letters. I mean, or Roman. They're Roman letters or Latin letters, and somehow the battle system works. So you just use a guide and find out how to make spells based on words. It's weird. I don't know how they did it. It's very weird battle system, but very unique. Never seen anything quite like it. And then, you play as three different characters, and you have to go through each of their storylines. And then after you finish all three of them, then you have like a fourth storyline where you end up fighting the final boss. So it's kind of interesting to get to see the game from different perspectives. Um, but yeah, like it's other than that, it's fairly similar. It's like a normal JRPG. It was a little bit on the hard side. I'd used some cheap like leveling strategies, and the final boss was still a little bit difficult. Even though I used some, I did grind my stats using some cheap tricks, but like still, I think so. The game is still fairly difficult. But yeah, it was a fun game. I think it was made later in the Super Nintendo era, so I think it might be like 1996. Bahamut Lagoon, I think, is also 1996. So you can tell by the graphics that they're better. They're better than most Super Nintendo games. So yeah, it's a solid game, and a lot of people like the music. I didn't think the music was that great, but a lot of people do love the music. So I think it's a solid B tier game. Finally, we have Vandal Hearts 1 and Vandal Hearts 2. So I enjoyed these games. They're strategy RPGs for PlayStation. Vandal Hearts for PlayStation. Vandal Hearts 2. Oh, wait, yeah. Vandal Hearts 2 is also for PlayStation, I think. Yeah. Well, what am I saying? So Vandal Hearts 1 was fairly enjoyable. I think maybe like a low A tier. I think it deserves a low tier. It's short, kind of aged, but I enjoyed it. Just you have some variety in how your characters level up, and but still it does lack. I mean, there are limitations to how complex the battle system can get. It's not like Final Fantasy Tactics or Fire Emblem, where I feel like there's a lot more you can do and there's a lot more variety. Vandal Hearts, after a while, it just follows a certain pattern in how the battles are. It's a little bit on the hard side, but you can use, there's like places where you can use cheap leveling tricks and make the game super easy. But yeah, I think it's a solid game. Kind of on the dark side. I'll say it's got that whole political intrigue thing going for it, like war. A lot of tactical RPGs do that. They've got a lot of that political intrigue stuff going on. So Vandal Hearts is a bit dark, but solid game. Vandal Hearts 2 builds on what the first game had, and offers a lot more variety with more classes and just variety in how you yeah, you have more characters, you have more classes, and you have variety in what classes you can pick, and there's a lot of hidden stuff. Yeah, like definitely use a guide for Vandal Hearts 2. There are a lot of secret items that are so easy to miss. And if you want like the secret ending, there's actually like 5 or 6 different endings depending on like which of your characters dies and all this stuff. Like it's pretty complex. Like for an obscure game, like it's really surprising like how much stuff there is. Like it took me like 50 hours to beat it, like completely to get like a perfect playthrough. So it's yeah, there's a lot to do here. Good tactical RPG, just kind of builds on the first game, but I mean, after a while it does get repetitive. So just letting you know, like these games do get repetitive after a while, and Bahamut Lagoon has that same problem. So yeah, but yeah, Vandal Hearts 1 and 2, good solid games. Just you might want to use a guide because they have a lot of hidden items, secret items that you'll miss if you don't use a guide. But yeah, I think A tier. I don't think anything in here is like S tier. These are obscure games. Generally, if a game is S tier, it's not going to be obscure. If a game is S tier, people are going to probably know about it. Like there aren't. I don't think there's that many hidden gems that are S tier because if a game's that good, people are probably going to find out. But there are some A tiers in this hidden gem category. And then there's some games like Ray Gigant where it's like, yeah, obviously it's obscure because it's a C tier game. So that's why people don't know about it. But yeah, these are my obscure games. So yeah, there's only one more video. That'll be my final one in this series of every game I've ever played. And then after that, I'm going to move on to anime. And that should be very interesting.